Cindy, can you tell us a little bit more about what we need to know?
And yes, this did just come in. We do now have a tornado warning in place for parts of northeast Georgia. This is through 5:45 this morning. We are starting to see increasing rotation with this. This is in place all throughout parts of northeast Georgia. So from Toccoa pushing northeastward towards Clemson, we are looking at very strong system starting to move through that area. I'm going to put a track on it right now and let's see exactly the exact locations that are under this tornado warning as it continues to work very fastly towards parts of Anderson. So within the next few minutes, it's 5:13 right now. At 5:19, Westminster, we're looking at that storm starting to roll across the region. Again, we are seeing a lot of rotation associated with it. Clemson, 5:34, Central, 5:41. Anderson, 5:52. You need to get to your safe space. We are looking at the possibility of not just strong damaging winds, but the possibility of seeing rotation, which is indicating a possible tornado on the ground right now. So again, Westminster, in the next few minutes, we are looking at this tornado possible. The latest timing of this tornado warning and who will see those impacts here. So as we pause this here, let's put it on the leading edge of the storm system as it pushes towards the east and northeast. Clemson, 5:29, so you got about 10 minutes. You need to find your safe place, whether that's the most interior spot in your household, lowest level of your household, away from windows. You need to find your safe spot as this tornado warning still is present. Central, 5:37, headed right towards Anderson at 5:50, and Greenville, 6:04. So again, it's holding together right now. We're seeing that rotation. I'm going to get a couple other things as we're still getting some updates here as this moves on through from the latest updates from the National Weather Service. So as we continue to watch this, again, this particular tornado warning still is in place for about the next 20-25 minutes. Also just got another severe thunderstorm warning. I'll go ahead and back on out so y'all can see the big picture here. Again, this is a very serious situation as it's moving very fast with very strong winds all across our region. So as we're getting the newest updates here, we are continuing to track this. It was moving right through Carnesville, moving east at 70 miles per hour right now. So again, tornado warning in place right now through 5:45. If you are in the line of that strong storm, possibly a tornado, you need to find your safe space. We are going to toggle back and forth and see if we're seeing any more defined rotation. At the moment, not necessarily seeing it really show out on me. Does not necessarily mean that we are completely out of the woods. We are still looking at very strong winds. Again, it's moving very fast at 70 miles per hour. So this is a very dangerous situation. And again, the big picture, strong line of storms moving all through parts of Georgia, a lot of lightning associated with it, and a lot of severe weather also associated with it. For us here at home, although our threat is low, as you can see, we're still looking at a severe thunderstorm warning as well as a tornado warning in place as we speak. Again, it is moving very fast towards the east at 70 miles per hour. So we're going to keep walking y'all through this until this tornado warning is completely cleared, as this is a very dangerous situation. So if we put this in pause here, get the leading edge of this line of storms underneath this tornado warning, push it towards the east and northeast. Clemson, 5:29, so you've got about 10 minutes to get to your safe place. Very fast moving system again. Damaging winds are going to be the main threat as it works its way east and northeast. So areas that are right under this tornado warning: Central, 5:36, Anderson, 5:48, Malden, 6:10. So this is going to continue working across parts of the upstate. Again, it's part of a much larger storm system that will continue to bring huge impacts for us all throughout this morning. We're looking at the main timing beginning right now as we speak through about 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning. So the good news is it's a fast moving system, but it is a very dangerous one and a very powerful one. So we're going to take this off and we are going to continue to watch the main locations that are under this tornado warning. As of right now, there is that possibility of not only dangerous winds, but if you are out on the roads and can get to a safe spot, you need to do so immediately. If you can avoid being outside, try to do so. I know you might be trying to head to church, but we are under a tornado warning right now through parts of northeast Georgia moving into the upstate. So as we look at the latest loop of this, you can see how fast it's moving just within the last 20-30 minutes. It's already started to work across Toccoa into Carnesville and now approaching Clemson with this leading edge of this particular tornado warning. So we'll pause this, get the latest track and timing of the tornado warning and the locations that could see it. Again, it's moving towards the east at 70 miles per hour. So Clemson, 527, this is the latest timing. Central, 534. Anderson, 547, and Greenville, 601. So you still have a few minutes if you're in Clemson to find your safe spot. Lowest level of whatever building you may be in, away from windows, basement. Find that safe spot. We are still getting some more updates in as this particular system continues to work eastward, making sure I'm not getting any other updates or information, because we want to make sure that y'all are aware of the exact locations and impacts as we continue to track this system. So as we continue to put it in loop, moving very fast, a lot of lightning associated with it. Again, the tornado warning is in place through 5:45 this morning. So now it has been extended towards Anderson. So with the latest timing here, again, we're going to keep walking you through town by town as this system works across this tornado warned area and map out who is going to see these impacts and at what time so you can find your safe space. Right now, let's see, right now, we've got Clemson, 527. Again, we're about 5 minutes away from this. Pendleton, 537. Anderson, 548. And Piedmont, 559. So it's moving into the upstate here very quickly. And again, it is coming with strong damaging winds being the main and primary threat that we're going to see with this. We are seeing some rotation associated with this line of storms. Now, as we take again a look at the full picture here, yes, we've got a tornado warning present, also a severe thunderstorm warning present. However, we're not completely done with this line. If we look a little bit further back at the whole picture here, I've been watching these storms all across the region throughout the last several hours. Parts of Alabama now moving into Georgia. A lot of severe weather is associated with it. They've been under those watches all throughout last night into this morning, and that has since been extended into parts of the upstate and northeast Georgia currently as we speak. So we are going to continue to track this. Again, we aren't getting off air until this tornado warning is cleared, because we want to make sure that y'all are remaining safe as we track this storm. So let's pause it here in loop, because we are still very much under this tornado warning. It's highlighted in this red box here. Underneath that, also a severe weather warning is also in place. So let's look at the latest line here and track this, pushing towards the east at 70 miles per hour. It is a fast moving system, and that is going to continue to be a concern as we watch this line of storms over the next several hours. Clemson, 529, we're just moments away from that. Find your safe space. Find the lowest level of whatever building or your home you may be in. Make sure it's away from windows. Don't worry, we're going to continue to walk you through this. Damaging winds are going to be the main threat as we track this. So again, Clemson, 529, Central, 537, Anderson Regional, 543, and Anderson, 547. So for our friends in Anderson, you still have a few minutes to get to that safe space, but you need to take this seriously. We are under an active tornado warning until 5:45. We will continue to watch this until that warning has since been expired. So as of right now, not getting any new updates with the latest right now. Let's see what else we have. We are also looking at, let's see, a few moments ago we had current wind gusts. So let's look at that. Got to toggle back and forth here because our wind gusts are going to be the main primary threat that we watched throughout this morning. Wind gusts, Toccoa, 44 miles per hour. So very, very strong system moving right through parts of northeast Georgia into the upstate. Hartwell, 24 miles per hour, but that will quickly change as this front starts to work even further eastward. And again, it's moving at about 70 miles per hour. Now we'll go ahead and get you a look at the latest big picture of this front. Again, it's bringing widespread severe weather through parts of Alabama, but in particular Georgia. We've been seeing these alerts all morning long, and now that has since extended eastward into our area. So let's take a closer look in right now. Still have this tornado warning present as we speak. Let's take an even closer look in here. So highlighted in red, so under this red box, that is where we're watching this active tornado warning that is in place. So I'm going to continue to make sure that we have the latest timing and impacts as we track this particular system. So looking at the leading edge of this, pushing east and northeast, we're looking at Clemson, 526 this morning. So again, this is right now moving right across the region. You need to find your safe space. Central, 533. Anderson, 547, and Campbell, 553. We are going to continue watching this. It looks like now we've extended one of the watches present across parts of the upstate. I'm going to toss it over to Peyton as she's got a few other updates, and we'll continue walking you through this tornado warning.
Absolutely, Sydney, thank you so much for doing all this for us. Hey, good morning. If you're just now joining us, we have a tornado warning for parts of our area, for northeast Georgia, for the upstate of South Carolina. We need you to stay with us, but we also need you to get to your safe space. So what do you mean by safe space is what you're probably asking. Well, you want to get to an inner room in your home. You could get to your basement, to a closet, maybe to a bathroom, really any room that's not going to have any kind of window or glass, a door to be able to get in from the outside. Why do you say that? Well, these winds are very, very strong. Cindy Sullivan just told us we're seeing 70-mile-per-hour winds moving quickly through the upstate of South Carolina and also through Georgia. So this warning has been issued for Anderson County, Oconee County, Pickens County, Franklin County, Hart County, Stevens County. These are the areas that we're seeing that. And what's the difference between a warning and a watch? I am so glad you asked. A tornado watch, that's an early alert that tornado-producing storms may form. It covers a broad area. Tornado warning, that's what we're under right now for a lot of our upstate South Carolina areas and our northeast Georgia areas. That's very serious. Tornado warning, that's an ongoing storm that may be producing a tornado right now. Now, Cindy Sullivan just told us we're seeing a lot of rotation. That means we could have tornadoes on the ground as we speak. If you were in any of those areas, and I'm going to read them out again, we've got Franklin County, Hart County, Stevens County, Anderson County, Oconee County, Pickens County. Get to a safe space immediately. We have Sydney Sullivan with more details. Sydney, thank you so much for your help today.
And thank you, Peyton, for highlighting some of those counties that are, in fact, under those alerts right now. Again, an active tornado warning in place. This means you need to get to your safe space immediately. We are looking at strong, damaging wind gusts being the primary threat. And we've also seen some rotation with this particular line of storms. So as we look at the active tornado warning right now, it is highlighted in this red box here, and it has since been trimmed down a little bit. So as it works eastward, it can start to trim out some of those areas that might have initially been impacted, but it doesn't mean we are completely done yet. We still have a very strong system working eastward at about 70 miles per hour. So let's look at the latest track. Again, this tornado warning is in place through 545. Central, you're going to see the worst of this initial round of storms in the next few minutes. 531, North Lake, 538, Anderson, 545, and Gant, 555. So if you're in Anderson, for instance, you still have a few minutes to get to your safe space. Peyton was highlighting some of those safe space options for you. So again, the lowest level of your building or your home, wherever you may be, away from windows. If you can avoid that, whether it's a bathroom or a closet, find that safe space. You need to get there immediately. Very strong wind gusts. Just saw an observation in Toccoa, 44-mile-per-hour wind gust. That is incredibly high, and as this works so fast eastward, that will continue to bring that threat of damaging wind gusts all across the region. So again, we are still looking at this active tornado warning still in place. Again, it's highlighted in red. I know we've got a lot of alerts taking place right now, as we also do have severe thunderstorm alerts across parts of the upstate now as this line works eastward. But this current tornado warning is in place through 5:45. Again, it has been trimmed down ever so slightly, but our friends right near Clemson, pushing towards Anderson, those are the spots that you're going to see those impacts here within the next several minutes. Let's look at the big picture here again. So we want to make sure y'all are aware of the threats, because we're not out of the woods just yet. Just because that area is under a tornado warning doesn't mean we couldn't see those impacts elsewhere. Again, strong damaging wind gusts are going to be the primary threat. So as of right now, this is the big picture. Line of storms working across our region towards the east at about 70 miles per hour. This active tornado warning is in place through 5:45, so we still have about 15 minutes left to track this particular tornado warning. Gone up in the heavy rainfall very quickly by 6:08, found in 6:18. And this is a part of a very large storm system, and there is still going to be that possibility of not just seeing severe weather, but even likely a few other tornado warnings are possible throughout this morning. We'll need to watch it very closely. It's also coming with quite a bit of lightning. Let's look at the big picture again to get you reoriented. It's part of a very strong cold front that is working through parts of Georgia right now. Looks like the worst of it is moving out of Atlanta, approaching Macon and Augusta. So those are the areas that are going to see the worst of it, but doesn't mean we're completely out of the woods, as we still do have an active tornado warning. In addition to that, we also highlighted in yellow, where you can see this is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is in place through 6 a.m. and notice that it also shows that possibility of seeing a tornado within that severe thunderstorm warning. So those are areas that we're going to watch all morning long as this line continues to work eastward at about 70 miles per hour. Still not getting any new updates here at this point. I'm trying to make sure that we're tracking this and giving you the latest information as we get it in ourselves. So let's take another closer look at the towns that are impacted or possibly going to see those impacts here. So moving right through Clemson right now, approaching Pendleton, Northlake, you're not too far off. So where you're seeing those very vibrant colors of the reds, the oranges, that's where we are in the heart of this system as it works eastward. Reed Creek, moving right through Reed Creek, again pushing eastward very quickly. Let's put this in loop so we can see how fast this is moving. Yes, it is in and out of here quickly, which is good, but that also brings with it the possibility of strong damaging wind gusts. And also right now under this tornado warning, there is that possibility of seeing more rotation associated with it. So let's back out here and put the latest track on really the worst of this storm. So I'm going to go right towards where we're seeing the reds as it's moving out of Clemson, out of Reed Creek, pushing eastward towards Northlake. That's where we're looking at Pendleton, 539, Denver, 542, Northlake, 546. So that's about towards the very end of when this tornado warning is supposed to expire. But if it holds together, could still likely see this work eastward and continue this tornado warning a little bit further eastward. Making sure I'm not getting any new updates here, because we're getting them as we speak right now. Yes, still have the thunderstorm warning, severe thunderstorm warning in place for parts of Greenville County and the upstate. Tornado warning is still very much active as of right now. It is still active until 5:45 this morning. So it's still looking likely that it is going to hold together as this works eastward at about 70 miles per hour. Now we're going to toss it to Peyton here as she has some new information for us. Thanks, Peyton.
Thank you, Sydney. Hey, good morning. If you're just now joining us, you need to get to your safe space, especially if you're in the following areas. And this is a lot of the upstate, so pay attention if you can. Clemson to Greenville. Hey, we're seeing a tornado warning around your area. You're going to need to get to your safe space immediately. Pickens on down to Elberton, Georgia. We're going to need you to get to your safe space immediately. So So in the event of a tornado warning, which is what we're seeing in this area, issued for your location, seek safety. So if you're inside, go to an interior room with no windows. Why no windows? Well, we're seeing some very, very strong winds here in this area. We're seeing 70 miles per hour, 44-mile-an-hour gusts of wind here in the upstate just a moment ago, according to Sydney Sullivan. So go inside, go to an interior room. If you're outside, get inside. Hurry to your basement immediately. Try to get flat into a ditch or a low-lying area, whatever you can to get to safety. If you're in a car or a mobile home, we suggest you get to a more stable shelter. Don't try to outrun this tornado. Don't try to outrun it. Don't try to outdrive it. This is moving quickly across our area, and this is could be a very dangerous storm. You cannot outrun 70 miles an hour of winds. We've got Sydney Sullivan with a little more information. Sydney, what else do we know about this so far?
Thank you, Peyton. We appreciate your help there. Well, we are still watching this active tornado warning. I'm getting information from a couple different sources. So as we look at the latest data, it's still in place through 5:45. It is moving very quickly. They have trimmed it down ever so slightly, at least in the last 15 minutes. But again, where this active tornado warning is, now it's kind of hard to see here, but highlighted in red. That is where we are seeing that possibility of a tornado moving through parts of the upstate into northeast Georgia into parts of the upstate. So with the leading edge of really the heaviest of the rain and possibly the strongest of the wind, and we push eastward very fastly, we're looking at Northlake 544, Anderson 548, Campbell 554, and Piedmont 559. Now, the tornado warning is expected to expire at 5:45. If it holds together, they will likely just continue working this warning further east as we get new information. Seeing a lot of lightning associated with it. Wind gusts have been very high. Toccoa, within the last 10 minutes, had wind gusts of 44 miles per hour. Would not be surprised if that's higher in a few other isolated locations, as this is moving very rapidly towards the east. Now, to back things up, just so you can see the full picture, very powerful, strong front working across primarily Georgia as of right now, pushing eastward at about 70 miles per hour. Currently, right now, we do have an active tornado warning as well as a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, under the severe thunderstorm warning, there is still that possibility where you could see a brief spin-up tornado with that. So even though it's not necessarily under a tornado warning, doesn't mean you couldn't see that rotation present. We've got enough energy and enough instability as of right now where that is certainly possible. Now, the severe thunderstorm warning is in place until 6 a.m. this morning. The tornado warning is in place through 5:45 this morning. If it will load right here, we will get it. Tornado warning 5:45 this morning. So we have a few more minutes, but again, if it does continue to hold together, they'll likely extend it further eastward as that initial line of strong storms works across the region and through that tornado warned area. So let's take a closer look in right now and just continue to give you the latest timing of these spots of who needs to get to their safe space immediately. I will say if you're in Greenville, Anderson, Spartanburg even, find that safe space. You've got some time right now. We're not necessarily in that initial band and leading edge of that line just yet, but you're very close. So as we pause this here, zoom in to the areas that are impacted and under this tornado warning. Let's go. So it's, again, approaching Anderson very quickly, moving towards the east at about 70 miles per hour. So Anderson, you got about 8 minutes. 5:48, you will start to see that leading edge of this line of storms that are under this tornado warning. Piedmont, 5:58. If this holds together, it's supposed to expire at 5:45. We'll see if it still has that energy, which as of right now, it certainly does. Malden, 6:08. Simpsonville, 6:12. So you still have some time if you're in those areas, but this is rapidly approaching Anderson within the next 7 to 8 minutes. Find your safe space, wherever that may be, away from windows, lowest level of your floor or your home, building, wherever you may be, whether it's a closet or a basement would be ideal, but a closet, bathroom, those are also very good spots to be under a tornado warning. So as of right now, still looking, not getting any new data there. Let's see if we can turn on some rotation. So we are certainly seeing the rotation present. It's just moving so quickly with wind speeds very high that it's a very strong and powerful storm system. So big picture, part of a cold front bringing severe weather all through parts of Georgia, in particular approaching Macon and Augusta. Just got word in from the National Weather Service that as of right now, they are going to expire the tornado warning. It's still up for the time being, but any minute now, we will see this tornado warning expired. We're going to keep it on until it is officially expired and give you one more of the latest track of those initial impacts as we track this line of storms. So North Lake approaching right now, Piedmont, 557, Simpsonville, 611, Woodruff, 626. So right now, they're still watching this line. The National Weather Service is still watching this line. They will likely expire this tornado warning, according to them, any minute now. So we'll keep it on until we're seeing that threat at least start to dissipate. And once it is officially expired, looks like, okay, so they're still keeping it for another minute or two. But as of right now, those areas, North Lake, Piedmont, Simpsonville, Woodruff, still going to see the initial line of this very strong, impactful storm system. As we track it, moving towards the east at about 70 miles per hour, even if you aren't under a tornado warning, straight line damaging winds are going to be the primary threat. A very strong system. The big picture here, moving through Georgia with the heaviest and worst impacts further south of us, but we are still under an active tornado warning, at least for the next minute or two. Depends when the National Weather Service officially expires it. The good news is they have just said that they're starting to see that rotation begin to weaken, which is good news, but still looking at the strong impacts of wind gusts all throughout this morning, with the leading edge of this system working right through Clemson and approaching Anderson as we speak. So we'll give you another fresh timeline of the leading edge of some of the worst impacts under this tornado warning. And as it works its way eastward, Anderson, any minute right now, find your safe spot as you are still under this tornado warning, at least for the next minute or two. Malden, 608, Simpsonville, even if you're not going to be under that tornado warning at that point, doesn't mean you couldn't see the impacts. So make sure you are still remaining weather aware throughout this entire morning as we track this very strong system. So Simpsonville, 612, Helene, 638. We do have a fresh severe thunderstorm warning in place for areas closer towards Ida and north of Elberton. We still have this tornado warning in place, at least for the time being, making sure I'm not getting any new updates as we speak. And it looks like they have since now canceled the tornado warning. So with that being said, we will get you back to our newscast, but if there are still any more tornado warnings that might become present in the next several hours, we will walk you through it. Still remain weather aware, as we are still looking at a very dangerous storm system moving very quickly towards the east at about 70 miles per hour. So Peyton, we'll hand it off to you and we'll get back to our normal newscast and still track these storms.
Thank you so much for keeping us weather aware. And hey, thank you at home for doing everything you can to keep yourself and your family safe. Moving on to a heartwarming story. A group in Baltimore, Maryland is working to preserve the country.